I'll have a drop. I've never experienced this before. Seriously, balancing like baby life is hard. I don't know how moms do it. Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube video. This week we are doing another diet update. So you will notice that I'm in a different space. That is a baby crib bassinet thing. Don't even know what it's called. I am at my sister's in Melbourne and she has a 4-week-old baby. So I'm just here to like help out and help her with baby things. There's also a little kitty here. Little Nancy, who gets called Chow. Very cute. Oh my god, she's like super needy because the baby is number 1 now and she is no longer number 1. So I am doing a diet update. Last time we spoke, the diet was going really well and I was seeing like huge drops on the scale. Oh my god, there's cat hair like floating around everywhere now. We were seeing huge drops on the scale. It was all going really well. I was finding it really easy to stick to my calories and it was just like happy days. The last video I was like, oh, I've got nothing really to update you on because things were going well, and then the last 2 weeks or week and a half, things we've kind of hit a plateau. So like this is inevitable, this happens, and I also noticed that around the kind of week to 2 weeks before I get my period, I notice a plateau. So the thing that we need to figure out at this point in the diet is, have I experienced metabolic adaptation where I've had a down regulation and I now need to diet harder because the calories I'm on are no longer as aggressive a deficit for my body? I mean, I've been going for 5 weeks and I wouldn't really expect to see that much of a down regulation. Or is it just the fact that my hormones are doing things, my cycle's about to come, my period's about to come? Am I just experiencing water weight? Because in my actual body I feel very watery, and so weird because the first 2-3 weeks into the diet I was looking shredded, not shredded but like way leaner. I could see my abs, I could see definition, and now I can't even see that. So it's like, how does it just all of a sudden go away? Like, it's not like I've done anything like overeaten or eaten, you know, out of a deficit, so it doesn't make sense. So I'm leaning towards it being just my cycle at the moment, which is showing as my weight isn't dropping, I'm looking watery, and at this point, yeah, it's figuring out whether it's a plateau and need to drop calories or whether it's just something you have to ride through. So I was actually asked on Instagram today about plateaus, and someone said, I'm in a plateau, I haven't been dropping weight, I'm finding it really hard, and now I'm eating more food. That's like, I can totally relate to that because personally when I stopped seeing results, and that's why I liked going so aggressive at the start of the diet, because I was seeing results really quickly and it kept me really motivated because I was like, oh yeah, this is working. Because like sometimes you do doubt the process. Like as a coach, I even sometimes panic. I'm like, oh my god, is it not going to work? But it does if it's a deficit for your body. So yeah, it is really difficult to stick to your calories because you're like, what's the point? Dieting is hard, so what's the point in eating less food when I could be eating more and getting basically the same results? It is so important at this point in the diet to stick to your calories. So important, because if you start eating more food, then you're going to stop losing weight, and then you'll like associate the fact that you stop losing weight to being like, oh yeah, it doesn't work. And yeah, it's really hard to stick to. It's really hard to stick it out. But I think it's really good that this has happened because I'll get to show you guys that if you stick to the plan, which is what I'm doing, I'm sticking to my 1400 calories a day. I actually did a couple of low days today and yesterday because I was like, I'm getting impatient and stubborn. Why is the scale not moving? This is really annoying. I wouldn't recommend doing that, but I'm just, yeah, I'm being impatient. It's better to be in a deficit though than to eat over your calories, because that's not going to get you any closer to where you want to be. If where you want to be is losing fat and you stop eating in a deficit, that's not going to do anything, and it's just going to make you not believe in the process. So this is actually a really hard point in the diet where you're not seeing results, but you are in a deficit, but it's not showing on the scale, it's not showing in your body, and you're kind of over it. So this is so important to stick to it, guys. Just trust me. And yeah, it's really good that I'm going through this right now because I can show you that you can be doing everything right and it still mightn't show. So let's jump into my last 2 weeks of weigh-ins and calories. Everyone's asking me about my training. I've got my Train with Soph at home program, but I've made a few adjustments to that for myself because I am only training 3 days a week rather than 4 to 5, which is what I've set up for my girls, only because I'm just working so much. I'm here with family and I'm just wanting to train less, so I am doing 3 full body body days just to make sure I'm hitting those muscle groups with the right amount of volume per week for growth and muscle retention. I'm in week 6 now. This will be going live week 7 of the diet. So week 4, I had a drop of 830 grams across the week. So my average weight was 74.9 kilos. Last week, so the week following that, I actually went up 140 grams. So my average weigh-in was 65.4. Now I'm going to be 100% honest with you guys. There were 2 days that I went over my calories. I had 1600 calories on Monday and 1600 calories on Friday, and that's just because I've been baking for the Train with Soph recipe book, and I find it really hard not to eat whilst I'm baking and like testing things. So I did make up for those extra calorie days on Tuesday and Wednesday. I ate under just to make sure the week of calories balanced out. I just prefer being consistent with my calories because you just get more accurate data for your weigh-ins. But yeah, I did eat over, but I wasn't over my calories for the week, so I shouldn't see an increase in scale because I've eaten over my calories, and 1600 would still be a deficit for me. So yeah, it was frustrating. I started the week at 64.3, which was the lowest weigh-in I've had, and then it literally jumped a kilo the next day to 65.3, and then 65, then back down to 64.9, then back up to 65.1, then up again to 65.6, and then down to 65.1. So you can see just how much it's like cycling up and down, which brings us to this week, and I've only got 3 weigh-ins to share with you for this week so far, and it's up again, 65.5, 65.8, 65.8 today, and yesterday I only had 1280 calories. With that data in mind, it can't be the deficit because I'm 100% in a deficit. I'm not going to experience metabolic adaptation that quickly, like across 5-6 weeks. My metabolism isn't going to come down that much. So I'm very confident that this is to do with my cycle, which is due at the end of this week. We experience so much water retention, and fluctuations of our hormones makes us watery, it makes us inflamed, and it's just going to change what our body looks like, feels like, and how much it weighs, because the extra water in our body, it weighs more. So I am anticipating that once I get my period, probably it might come down during it, but then after it I'll have a drop. So it is so vital for me to stick to my calories so that I can then be like, okay, was it that, or is it metabolic adaptation? If it's metabolic adaptation, then my metabolism is doing things that are new. I've never experienced this before. So I will probably take a week-long diet break and then drop back into the deficit. I don't think I'll push the deficit any more aggressively. And if it's just from my cycle, then I will continue off the calories. I will expect a drop in weight. And yeah, I just can't stress enough how important it is to stick to your calories at this point, because you can't get accurate data to make decisions moving forward if you're eating more calories than you have been the whole diet phase all of a sudden just because you've gained weight. It just doesn't make sense. My steps for the week were all minimum 10,000, so I got between 10 and 13,000 steps last week. Sleep was a bit off. Sleep is also something that will factor into your, being watery and inflamed and higher readings on the scale, but I can see in my pictures too that I am looking quite watery. Now that my routine is changing, now that I'm in Melbourne and there's a newborn here, it means that my sleep is definitely going to be more broken. I'm tired, brain fog. My training sessions will be a bit different because of where I am and the space I've got. Still going to be doing full body sessions, still going to be sticking to 1400 calories, but it's definitely challenging. Like, I always find dieting in Melbourne really challenging because there is more temptation around, be it from cafes that are open doing takeaway, or my sister's pantry, or my sister's husband is Italian and cooks incredible food like homemade pastas, and just he cooks with lots of olive oil. So it's it's hard because I do want to eat meals with them, but this is really important to me. I really want to show myself that I can have a goal and stick to it and achieve it. And people ask me, like, a lot of people are at home with their family right now and their families are cooking for them and they're having dinner with their families. Oh my god, my hair extensions have grown out so much that they're literally just like poking out of my head, and my roots, that regrowth, oh my god, ISO. Sorry, I can't stop seeing it like in my viewfinder above the camera. Anyway, I digress. So yes, how to stay on track when you're with your family. There's literally like on my sister's counter the best cookies in Melbourne. They're like these salted caramel amazing cookies, and I'm just such a sucker for cookies and donuts. They're like my kryptonite. And the counter is like where I'm working. I'm walking past. It's there. I'm like sleep deprived because baby, you know, not getting heaps of sleep, and I'm dieting, so I'm extra hungry. So your ability to say no to things when you're tired and in that state is harder. I find for myself, even if I allow a little bit, it's like the Pringle ad. Once you pop, you can't stop. That is me 100%. Like if I had a little bit of cookie, I'd be like, it begins, release the Kraken. So I'm not even gonna start, because I know if I start, I won't be able to stop, and I'll every day make an allowance. Every day I'll be like, oh, I'll just have a little bit, I'll make up for my calories here. No, first of all, they've got gluten and dairy in them. These things totally inflame me and are going to further mess up the scale reading. Like some people just respond really poorly to processed foods and gluten and dairy, and some people are totally fine, but I just get really high inflammation markers when I eat that kind of food. So yeah, I'm not even going to entertain the idea of having it. And it's really hard, but I find it so much easier to say no if you haven't started. Like if you just, the rule in this house for me is I am not eating any of that food. I have my 2 squares of Lindt chocolate every night. That satisfies that craving. And then I have my vegetables and my protein, which keeps me full during the day. Make your decision and stick to it. Now, in terms of like eating with the family, I know it's really hard because food is such a like celebration and we're all together, and it's really nice to share food and connect over your food. I just cook for myself. Like I was doing it at Dad's and I do it here. I just make my own food. I try to time it so that we're eating dinner together at the same time. Like if they're your family and they love you, they understand you've got goals, they understand how important this is to you, have a conversation with them, make sure they're on the same page. Like make sure they're rooting for you and keeping you in check. Like if I tell my sister, hey, this diet's really important to me and this is what I'm focusing on right now, can you please help me to not eat the cookie? And like, oh my god, if I make the decision to eat it and she tells me no, I will probably want it even more. I'll be like, don't tell me what to do. It's also really good because you check yourself. Like you go to eat it and someone's there to remind you of your goals, and then it's not a punishment, it's just you made a decision, so stick to it. So yeah, that was a tangent, but the best way honestly is just cook your own food. Like sure, if your family's gonna get pissed off at you for doing that, then like they need a bit of a wake-up call, because we're all adults here, so we can all make our own decisions, and they just need to be supportive of you and your goals. Nothing wrong with having a goal to lose weight or like want to eat healthy. So yeah, it can be really hard. I understand how all of this works and I still question it sometimes, but I've said it a million times in this video, I'm going to say it again. Stick to your calories. Do yourself a favor and stick to your calories, because quitting is not going to get you closer to your goal. If anything, it's going to make you stop believing the process, do some stupid crash diet or something that doesn't last, and then because it's super restrictive, you end up binging at the end of it and putting the weight back on, and then you're in a position that I'm in right now, and it's so much harder to lose weight when you've had like rebounds and like regained the weight, because we get more fat cells. So the more fat cells we have, like you can't get rid of a fat cell once you have fat there, and it's easier to store and deposit fat in a fat cell that exists. So stick to your calories, stick to your steps, push through the plateau. I promise it'll work. If you have metabolic down regulation, maybe take a diet break, maybe bring your calories down, maybe up your steps. Just do one thing at a time. I'm gonna ride this bad boy out for like 2-3 weeks, see what happens with my cycle, and then I'm gonna make a decision. Morning guys, it is Sunday, a whole week since my last check-in, which is how this YouTube started, and you can hear little baby grizzling. I'm just trying to like quickly film this before he comes down. Seriously, balancing like baby life is hard. I don't know how moms do it. Anyway, the diet. So I'm just about to take like my progress pictures to see like where my body's at and how it's gone this week. I've stuck to my calories and stuff this whole week, but my weight is being super stubborn. So I got my period like yesterday. So usually after this, it should come down. Like my weight and my whole kind of appearance should change. I'm just super watery, and the scale weight is reflecting like inflammation and wateriness. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see that, but it's also cool because I can do a YouTube next week week covering like what changes you can make to your diet to factor in your period. Like, do you make changes to your nutrition, your food, what to expect physically and what your body will look like in the scale and stuff. So I'm gonna have a coffee and I'm gonna take some pictures, and I might show you some video footage of my body and maybe compare this week and last week. I don't know if there's really gonna be many changes, because like just before I get my period I get like super watery and inflamed, and then when I have it I still am. I only just got it, so I probably won't see any drops or changes really for like a week like afterwards. So yeah, I mean, honestly guys, I'm pretty over it. Like, I posted an Instagram post today and I'm like, hey guys, I'm over dieting. It just gets really frustrating when you're not seeing results, but I know I'm in a deficit. Like, it can't not work, so it's just really important to push through. Like I said earlier in this YouTube video, like, it's really important to push through at this point, because it's the only way to figure it out. It's the only way to figure out what's going on, if it's actually a deficit for you anymore, what decisions you need to make moving forward. And you know what, I'm just gonna be repeating myself by saying this, so I'm gonna cut that here. I'm gonna have my coffee and then I'm gonna take my photos and we'll see. Sorry this was boring. Maybe next time I'll take you through a training session, but I did just post a glute at-home workout, so go check it out. That's it from me, guys. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, turn post notifications on. I love that you're loving the diet series, and I will see you guys here next week with some more good shit.